Respected viewers, dear family of dreamers, come closer for a moment. Slow your breath and listen, not just with your ears, but with the quiet place inside your heart where truth lives. Because there is something you must understand, something most people never realize until it is far too late. Time is moving, silently, without asking for permission. And while you are busy surviving today, your future is being decided. Right now. Every small choice, every ignored opportunity, every delay, every excuse, it is all writing a story, a financial story, that you will be forced to live tomorrow. And here is the uncomfortable truth. If nothing changes, your future is already in danger. Not because the world is against you, not because you are unlucky, but because time rewards those who prepare and punishes those who wait. Beloved listeners, many of you are trying your best. You wake up early, you work hard, you carry responsibilities that no one else sees. And yet, at the end of the month, something always feels missing. The numbers don't add up. The stress quietly builds. And deep inside, there is a voice that whispers, "What if this never changes?" That voice is not your enemy, is your awakening. There was once a young man, not very different from many of you, who believed that working harder was the answer to everything. He took extra shifts, saved whatever little he could, and told himself that one day things would get better. But years passed, and although his effort increased, his financial situation did not. Because no one had ever taught him that effort alone is not enough. You see, money does not respond to effort. It responds to understanding. And this is where most people struggle. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they were never shown a different way to think. They were taught to earn, but not to grow. They were taught to spend carefully, but not to invest wisely. They were taught to fear risk, but never taught how to manage it. So they remain stuck in a cycle that feels safe, but slowly steals their future. I have seen this pattern many times. People waiting for the right time, waiting for more money, waiting for more confidence, waiting for someone to guide them. But time does not wait, and the market does not wait. Opportunities do not wait. While you hesitate, someone else is learning. While you doubt, someone else is investing. While you delay, someone else is building. And over time, the distance between you and them becomes so large, it feels impossible to catch up. But here is something important, something deeply important. It is not too late, not today, not in this moment, because awareness is the first step toward transformation. Let me share something personal, something most people don't talk about openly. There were moments, early in my journey, where I made decisions that cost me dearly. I invested without understanding, trusted without verifying, and sometimes I let emotion guide me instead of logic. I remember one particular decision where I thought I had found a perfect opportunity. It promised quick returns. It felt exciting. And I convinced myself that this was my breakthrough. But it wasn't. It was a lesson. A painful one. The kind that keeps you awake at night. Questioning your choices. Doubting your ability. Wondering if you are even capable of building something meaningful. And in that silence, I realized something that changed everything. Wealth is not built by chasing excitement. It is built by mastering patience. You see, the world will tempt you with shortcuts, fast money, easy wins. But those paths are often designed to distract you, not empower you. Real growth is quiet. It does not shout. It does not rush. It does not promise instant results. It asks for discipline, consistency, and most importantly, time. Think about this for a moment. If you plant a seed today and dig it up tomorrow to check if it has grown, what happens? You destroy it. And yet, this is exactly how most people treat their financial journey. They start something, and when results don't appear immediately, they panic, they quit, they jump to something else, and in doing so, they never give anything enough time to grow. Dear family of dreamers, your future does not need perfection. It needs consistency. Even small actions, repeated over time, can create extraordinary results. Saving a little, investing wisely, learning continuously, avoiding unnecessary debt. These may seem like simple steps, but over years, they become powerful. And here is where the real challenge lies. Not in starting, but in continuing. When nothing seems to be happening, because there will be days when your progress feels invisible, days when you question if it is even worth it, days when others around you seem to move ahead faster, spending more, enjoying more, living louder. And in those moments, your patience will be tested, your discipline will be tested, your vision will be tested. But remember this: what grows slowly lasts longer. What is built with patience stands stronger. And what is guided by wisdom creates true freedom. I have seen individuals with very little income build remarkable financial stability simply because they respected time, and I have seen others, earning large amounts, lose everything because they ignored discipline. Money is not just about how much you make. It is about how you think. It is about how you behave. When no one is watching, it is about the choices you make. When you have the option to take the easy path, but choose the right one instead. Beloved listeners, if you truly want to protect your future, you must begin to see money differently, not as something to spend, but as something to grow. Not as a reward, but as a responsibility. Not as a solution, but as a tool. Because when you shift your mindset, your actions follow. And when your actions change, your results begin to change. But it will not happen overnight. And that is where most people lose hope. They want transformation without patience. They want results without process. They want success without struggle. But life does not work that way. Every meaningful journey requires discomfort. Every lasting success demands sacrifice. And every strong future is built in moments of quiet discipline, when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, when it feels like nothing is changing, but everything is. So if you feel behind, if you feel uncertain, if you feel like time is slipping away, do not panic. Pause, reflect, and begin again. Because your future is not decided by your past mistakes. It is shaped by your present decisions. And right now, in this very moment, you have the power to choose differently, to think differently, to act differently, and to build a future that is not controlled by fear, but guided by wisdom, patience, and purpose. And that is where everything begins to change. When you finally understand that the greatest investments are not always the ones you see in numbers, but the ones you quietly make within yourself. There comes a phase in every journey where nothing looks like it's working. You wake up, you follow your plan, you save a little, you invest a little, you say no to things others say yes to, and yet your life looks almost the same. No dramatic change, no sudden breakthrough, no applause, just silence. And this is where most people give up, not because they are weak, but because they misunderstand this phase. They think nothing is happening, when in reality, everything is happening beneath the surface. This is the phase where roots grow. Deep, invisible, but powerful. This is the phase where your habits begin to shape your destiny. Quietly, consistently, This is the phase where your future is being protected, even though your present still feels uncertain. But let me be honest with you. This phase is not easy. It demands something very rare, something most people are not willing to give. It demands emotional discipline, the ability to stay calm when results are delayed, the strength to stay focused when distractions are everywhere, the courage to stay committed when doubt begins to whisper. You see, the world celebrates outcomes, but it rarely talks about the silent sacrifices behind them, the dinners you skip so you can invest that money instead, the trends you ignore because you are focused on long-term value, the opportunities you say no to because they don't align with your purpose. No one sees these moments. But these moments define everything. I remember a time when I had to make a simple but painful choice: spend on something I wanted, or invest in something that would grow slowly. There was no guarantee, no certainty, no immediate reward, just a quiet decision between comfort today or freedom tomorrow. And I chose tomorrow, not because it was easy, but because I had started to understand something deeper. Your future is not built by what feels good now. It is built by what makes sense later. And this shift, this small internal shift, changes everything, because once you begin to think long-term, your entire relationship with money transforms. You stop chasing quick wins. You start building steady progress. You stop reacting emotionally. You start acting intentionally. You stop asking, "How much can I make today?" And you begin asking, "What can this become in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?" And suddenly, patience no longer feels like a burden. It feels like a strategy. But there is another challenge, one that is even more dangerous. Comparison, looking at others, their success, their lifestyle, their apparent progress, and feeling like you are falling behind. But what you must understand is this: you are not seeing their full story. You are not seeing their risks, their struggles, their mistakes, their timing. You are only seeing the surface and comparing it with your entire journey. This comparison, if left unchecked, can destroy your discipline. It can push you toward decisions that feel urgent, but are actually harmful. It can make you abandon your path just when it is about to reward you. So protect your focus. Guard your mindset. Because in the world of money, clarity is more valuable than speed, and consistency is more powerful than intensity. Dear family of dreamers, there will be moments when your progress feels painfully slow, moments when you question everything, moments when giving up feels easier than continuing. But understand this with absolute certainty. The person who keeps going, even when it feels invisible, is the person who eventually becomes unstoppable. Because they are not relying on motivation, they are operating on discipline. They are not chasing excitement. They are building stability. They are not looking for shortcuts. They are creating foundations, and foundations take time. But once they are strong, everything you build on top of them becomes unshakable. So if right now you feel like nothing is changing, if right now your efforts feel unnoticed, if right now your journey feels slow, do not mistake silence for failure. Because in this silence, your strength is growing, your patience is strengthening, your vision is becoming clearer. And step by step, decision by decision, you are moving toward a future that most people will never experience, not because they couldn't, but because they didn't stay long enough to let their efforts compound into something truly extraordinary. And when that moment finally arrives, it does not come with noise. It does not arrive like a storm. It comes quietly, almost gently. One day, You look at your life, and you realize something has changed. Not just your bank balance, but your mindset, your habits, your peace. The stress that once followed you is no longer there. The fear that once controlled your decisions has faded, and in its place, there is calm, a quiet confidence that cannot be shaken easily. Because now you understand that wealth is not just numbers, it is freedom. Freedom to choose how you live, how you spend your time, how you respond to life. Freedom to say no without fear. Freedom to say yes without guilt. And most importantly, freedom from the constant worry that tomorrow might break you. Beloved listeners, this is what you are truly building. Not just money, but peace. Not just income, but independence. Not just success, but stability. And the most beautiful part of this journey is, it is available to anyone who is willing to be patient, disciplined, and intentional. You do not need to be the smartest. You do not need to be the luckiest. You simply need to be consistent when others are distracted, focused when others are lost, calm when others are emotional. Because in the end, it is not the person who moves the fastest who wins. It is the person who understands the game and plays it with patience. So if today you feel uncertain about your future, if today you feel like time has already slipped away, let me remind you of something simple but powerful. The future is not a place you are going. It is something you are creating right now, with every decision, with every habit, with every thought, and no matter how far you feel you have drifted, there is always a way back. Back to clarity, back to discipline, back to purpose. So take a deep breath. Let go of regret. Release the weight of past mistakes and begin again. Not with pressure, but with understanding. Not with fear, but with awareness. Because the moment you choose to act with wisdom is the moment your future begins to change. Slowly, quietly, but surely. And one day, when you look back, you will not remember the struggle as pain. You will remember it as the foundation, the very reason you became who you were meant to be. And in that realization, you will find something far greater than wealth. You will find peace, a deep, unshakable peace that comes from knowing you did not let your future slip away. You built it with patience, with discipline, and with quiet courage. Respected viewers, dear family of dreamers, now let us bring everything together, not as scattered thoughts, but as one clear truth that you can carry with you, long after this moment fades. Your future was never in danger because of the world. It was only ever in danger when you were unaware. Unaware of how time works. Unaware of how money grows. Unaware of how small decisions, repeated daily, quietly shape a lifetime. But now, you are aware, and that changes everything. Because awareness, when combined with action, becomes power. You no longer need to rush. You no longer need to chase every opportunity. You no longer need to fear. Being behind, all you need is clarity, patience, and discipline. To understand that wealth is not built in days, but in years of consistent, thoughtful decisions. To accept that the journey will feel slow, sometimes uncertain, sometimes even lonely, but it will always be worth it. Because every time you choose to save instead of waste, every time you choose to invest instead of consume, every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are not just improving your finances, You are strengthening your future, and slowly, almost invisibly, your life begins to transform. The chaos becomes calm, the fear becomes confidence, the pressure becomes peace, and one day, without warning, you realize that you are no longer chasing stability. You have become stable. You are no longer searching for security. You have created it, and that is the moment. Everything feels different, because true wealth is not loud. It does not need to be displayed. It lives quietly, in your choices, in your mindset, in your freedom. So from this moment forward, walk your path with patience, build your life with intention, protect your time like it is your greatest asset. Because it is, and trust the process, even when you cannot yet see the results. Because the seeds you plant today, with discipline, with vision, with belief, will grow into a future that feels not only successful, but peaceful, meaningful, and truly yours. And in the end, it will not be about how fast you moved, or how much you showed the world. It will be about how wisely you lived, how patiently you built, and how calmly you arrived at a life of quiet abundance and inner peace.